Hello, this is Earl Nightingale. I would like to talk about a magic word. Experts call it the most important word regarding the results we obtain in life. It does not matter whether it is in this or any other language. The magic word is attitude. Attitude is defined as a position or as an indicator of feeling, action, or mood. And it is our actions, feelings, or moods that determine the actions, feelings, or moods of others toward us, and that surprisingly control our success or failure. So it is our attitude toward life that determines life's attitude toward us. Now, what does this really mean? Everything that exists operates, of course, under a law. Now, what does that mean? A law we call the law of cause and effect. Everything we say or do causes some effect. We are responsible for producing causes, and the effects or rewards arising from our actions will take care of themselves. That is why I say that success can be guaranteed and that it comes to us whenever we live in a certain way. Good attitude, good results. Right attitude, right results. Poor attitude attracts poor results. You see, each person develops the shape of their own life, and that shape is determined by our attitudes, the attitude we hold most of the time. This sounds very simple, doesn't it? But it is not quite that easy. For most people, learning this new habit takes time, but once it is understood, our daily lives will be transformed as if we had stepped out of a dark tunnel into the light of a sunny day. A person with a poor attitude toward learning, for example, during school or afterward, will not learn much until that person changes their attitude. I know you can think of examples of this in your own life. If we have the attitude that we cannot do something, generally we do not do it, and thus our attitude toward doing it fails. Then we give up long before we even begin. We know that everything we receive from life, what we accomplish or fail to accomplish, is due to a large extent to our attitude. The American teacher, philosopher, and psychologist William James of Harvard said, Professor William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation was that human beings can alter their lives by altering their mental attitudes, by developing a good attitude toward the world in general. Each of us must first develop a good attitude toward ourselves. We cannot give others something we do not possess. So it is the attitude we have toward ourselves that determines our attitude toward others, which radiates into the world around us. When you see someone with a poor attitude toward others, you can be certain that he or she has a poor attitude toward themselves. They do not like themselves very much and are unhappy about something. A happy person reflects happiness in their attitudes. On the other hand, a person with a poor attitude is unhappy and frustrated most of the time. Sad and unhappy people, at least the great majority of them, become a human magnet that attracts unpleasant experiences, and when this happens, they further reinforce their poor attitudes, bringing more problems and so on. This becomes a self-sustaining cycle of problems. But for a man or woman with a good attitude, the same principle is also true, only in reverse, expecting the best. That is exactly what they will receive. Answer this for me, please. Now tell me, based on what we have been discussing so far, answer, why does a person persist in a poor attitude, expecting the worst from life? Well, we are so familiar with our failures that we take them for granted. We tend to underestimate what we can achieve, the goals we can reach, and for some, equally strange reason, we believe that others can achieve all their desired goals and, worse still, that we ourselves do not have that ability. We tend to ignore the fact that there is enormous undeveloped potential within each of us, a great reserve of talent and ability. In fact, there are millions of human beings living limited, dark, and frustrated lives, living defensively simply because they have assumed a doubtful and defensive attitude toward themselves, and as a result, toward their lives in general. Attitude is the reflection of a person. What is happening inside shows on the outside. A person's attitude is incalculably powerful, and we can bring about wonderful results. But we must train it patiently day after day. Now you need to stop and think. Stop to think about this for a few minutes. Let's talk about successful people. Successful people move through life with one success after another. When they eventually fail at something, they adjust the errors and move on. No matter what a person does, wherever you find someone doing excellent work and obtaining exceptional results, you will find a person with a good attitude. These people take an attitude toward themselves that affirms they can accomplish what they decide to accomplish. Achievement is the natural order of things. There is no good reason in the world to tell them they cannot be competent and successful. All successful people have healthy attitudes toward themselves and, as a natural result, toward their lives and toward everything they wish to accomplish. That is why they achieve remarkable results and are labeled by most people as successful, excellent, brilliant, lucky, and so on. Successful people are often no more brilliant or talented than most of the people around them, but they have the right attitude. They achieve their accomplishments with relatively little difficulty simply because so few people are truly trying and truly believing in themselves. Successful people come in all sizes, shapes, and colors, and with widely varying levels of intelligence, support, and education, but they have one thing in common. They expect more good things from life than bad ones. They expect to succeed more often than they expect to fail, and frequently they are the ones who make things happen. When you want something worthwhile, take the attitude of believing there are far more reasons why you can succeed than reasons that would convince you that you cannot. Intend to win, go forward, work at it, and ask for it, and 9 times out of 10 you will succeed. Now think about that. Our environment, the world we create around us, is truly a mirror of our attitudes. If we do not like our environment, we can change it by changing our attitudes. The world has no favorite person. The world makes no distinctions because it is impersonal. The world does not separate those who succeed from those who fail. The world does not really care whether we change or not. Our attitude toward life does not affect the world in the same way that people in the world should not affect our attitude. It would be impossible even to estimate the number of jobs lost, promotions missed, grades lowered, sales lost or never made, and marriages ruined by poor attitudes. But you can count in the millions the jobs people hold but hate, the marriages they tolerate but are unhappy in, the parents and children who cannot get along, all because people are waiting for the world and other people to change before they change themselves. Instead, if they were big enough and smart enough, they would conduct a test that would prove that most of these difficulties are rooted in poor attitudes. So a success attitude will help bring the success we seek, but how does a person acquire this kind of attitude? How do we achieve this kind of attitude? The easiest and most effective ways lie in forming a good habit of attitude. Begin by conducting yourself as if you already had a positive attitude toward life. If you have never tried this, you will be surprised at what happens. Remember, actions produce feelings, and feelings trigger actions. Not long ago, I read a statement that said, "Life is dull only for dull people," and it is true. It could also be written as, "Life is interesting only for interesting people," or even, "Life is successful only for successful people." You must first have the attitude of focusing your mind on the person you wish to become. Once, I watched a report about a famous businessman who owned a restaurant chain and was interviewed by a well-known reporter. Of all the questions asked, one caught my attention. The reporter asked, "When did you become successful?" And he answered, "I became successful when I was sleeping on park benches. I knew what I wanted to do and I knew I would do it." He had his success attitude by expecting success long before the tangible material rewards of success arrived. The German philosopher Goethe put it this way: before you can do something, you must first be something. It is very possible that you know people who seem to be what others call lucky, and all kinds of wonderful things happen to them. These people give the impression that they optimize their time in life, accomplishing more in 1 year than most people would accomplish in 5. If you consciously choose to do the test, I recommend that you focus on it every day. You will begin to join that small group of happy and extremely productive people. From now on, you will become one more lucky person, as they say, and most of your problems will take care of themselves. In this way, you can be certain that your results will be nothing short of incredible. Test it yourself. Now here is the test. You will act toward the world and toward everyone with an attitude calculated to produce the desired results. That is, if the desired result is more success, in whatever you are doing, you must act as if you already possess that success. If you want to be treated with admiration and respect by others, begin right now to treat everyone with admiration and respect. Treat everyone as important people. I will give you 3 excellent reasons to act this way. First, with respect to the individual, he or she is the most important person. Second, because this is how we human beings should treat one another. Third, by treating everyone this way, we are forming an important habit. There is nothing in the world that men, women, and children need more than self-esteem. Self-esteem is the feeling that affirms that we are important, we are necessary, and we are respected. People will give their love, affection, respect, and support to those who fulfill these needs. Have you noticed that the higher you go in any organization, the better people seem to become? Notice that the higher a person's position, the easier they are to talk to, get along with, and work with. Do you know why? Because they have a good attitude, and people with the best attitudes naturally rise to the top. They do not have good attitudes because of their position. They have the position as a result of their attitude. Act toward others and toward the world in general, exactly the way you want the world and others to act toward you. For example, treat all members of your family as the people they truly are, the most important people in your life, anywhere in the world, every morning. Have the kind of attitude you would have if you were the most successful person on earth, and notice how quickly this becomes a habit. Almost immediately, a change will be noticed. Events that used to frustrate and irritate you will disappear. When a less informed person causes you stress, stay firm in your course. When someone deliberately cuts you off in traffic, train your mind to recognize that this person is merely displaying ignorance and lack of courtesy. You should not compromise or lower your level. You should not let another person's unhappiness make you unhappy. As you begin to develop your best attitudes, day after day, you will also begin to realize that you are already on the path to achieving what you seek. You are on the right path to joining the select group of the top 5%. You have prepared the ground and planted the seed you created. You yourself must be the embodiment of the person you wish to become. You need to understand this. Now let us summarize what we have learned so far. I have listed a few points to keep in mind. First, it's our attitude at the beginning of a task that more than anything else determines a successful outcome. Second, our attitudes toward others determine their attitudes toward us. We are interdependent. The success we achieve in life depends greatly on how well we relate to one another. Third, before you can achieve the kind of life you desire, you must think, act, speak, and conduct yourself in all your affairs as the person you wish to become. Fourth, the higher you go in anything worthwhile in an organization, the better the attitudes you will encounter. Attitudes are not the result of success. Success is the result of a good attitude. Finally, the deepest desire of human beings is self-esteem, the desire to feel needed, to feel important, and to be appreciated. When you treat every person you meet as the most important person in the world, both of you will benefit. To turn these principles into an important habit that becomes part of your life, here are my 5 self-esteem building suggestions that you should write down and read every morning upon waking and 20 minutes before going to sleep. Number 1, since your mind can do anything, keep your thoughts constructive and positive. Number 2, look for the best in people and also look for new ideas. In fact, stay constantly alert for new ideas, and these ideas can be applied to your life. Number 3, do not waste time broadcasting your problems or poor health. Unless you are speaking to your doctor. Doing so will probably not help you, nor will it help others. Number 4, radiate an attitude of well-being and confidence, the attitude of someone who knows where they are going. You will find good things happening to you immediately. Number 5, finally, treat every person you come into contact with as the most important person on earth. Begin this habit and practice it consistently, and you will do this for the rest of your life. Well, you already know this, don't you? My happiness is knowing that I can always count on your audience. I hope my words find in you fertile soil, and that in the right time they may germinate and bear thousands of fruits for our world, which so desperately needs transformation. If you have not subscribed yet, do it now.